Good day, everybody. Welcome back to the Dirty Pat Walsh channel here on YouTube. Listen to that. You can hear that. It's like a farty sound. How's it going? It's early Saturday morning. We had a massive snowstorm last night, and the sky is white, the ground is white. The snow plows were out this morning. The snow blowers. It's just, we've gotten off pretty scot-free so far this winter here in Ontario, and it had to come. It all came dumping down last night. But seeing as how it's the middle of January, February, March, like we're almost about halfway down winter. It's all right, you know. So yeah, I'm 3 subscribers away now from hitting 1,000. So, like I said, when we reach that milestone, if I reach that milestone, God willing, gonna have a live stream, and hopefully for a long time, have a long live stream, a celebratory live stream. Yeah. But my children visited me last night, and I gotta keep it quiet right now because my housemate's sleeping. My son's like this. He's turned into this amazing guitar technician and pedal guy, and he's building his own distortion pedals now. And, he's putting the finishing touches on his first built from scratch guitar. Stuff like that. He's just brilliant. Both my kids are brilliant. But anyhow, my son, he's really into distortion, right? Like he's a punk rocker, right? So he likes the fuzz. Takes after his old man. Anyway, I'm not much of a pedal guy. I did play bass in a punk rock band called Joe Buck, and one of the rules with Joe Buck is we all had to have a couple certain distortion pedals. We had to have a Proco Rat, which I wish I still had because that's an awesome distortion pedal. I sold all these pedals. I don't use them. I don't use pedals much, but I'm getting intrigued by them. Yeah, but anyhow, we had to have like some fuzz pedal. I don't know. I can't remember. But anyhow, one of the classic distortion pedals is the Boss uh, DS1, the orange distortion pedal. Everybody knows it. Everybody who plays electric guitar knows this one. I'm pretty sure. This is also great for harp. Yeah, he's obviously like took it apart, and I don't know what he did to it, but it sounds great. So, but yeah, he said I'm never going to use this pedal again because he bought they have an upgraded version of this now, like a 2.0 version, and he bought it yesterday. So he's like, I'm not going to use this pedal anymore, Dad. You want it? I'm like, oh my boy, and it sounds amazing. It's just amazing. We were playing everything through it last night. Playing my acoustic guitar through it, my electric guitar, my harmonicas. Oh, it's great. Um, so yeah, I'm looking forward to. Once I get my memory toy back, my memory toy, it was defective. It worked for about a day, and it got defective. anyway, it got sent back to Electro-Harmonics, and the music store is gonna get him a new one. It's just taking some time. So anyway, when I get that pedal back, and I have a distortion pedal now, I can basically recreate the music that I made for this show. I toured down to Newfoundland and Quebec and Toronto and Peterborough, of course, with my own. This is a show I did in like the mid to late '90s. Like it was before. It was before like the Sober Hearts happened. It was before the the Jackson Sanatorium happened. Um, I think, yeah, it was around like 1996, I think. And but yeah, like we toured the show. Anyway, I can recreate the music from it now. But I wanted to talk about John Beckley Morris recently told me he wants to hear more of my stories or me to do a blog or something, tell more about my life. So I wanted to talk about this. If anybody's still watching, I don't know, maybe most people tuned off once I 30 seconds worth of harmonica playing. But I make these videos, people can watch them if they want, you know. Um, oh, uh-oh. That was reckless of me. Um, Alright, so this trip to Newfoundland I had to take. It was to do this show, called Swallowed, with my friend Kate. Kate grew up in Newfoundland, and her father was a relatively famous author there. George Story is. I don't know what he was really famous for anymore. I can't remember. Architecture, writing, or something. Anyway, he was kind of a big deal. Um, Kate. Uh, Kate's mother lived in her family home, and her and her brother would come and visit often. I think her brother was living there at the time, Lachlan. He's a real nice fellow. Um, and Kate had hired me to write music for this play she wrote about basically about Newfoundland. It's hard to describe. It was a very abstract kind of piece, but I made this like soundscape out of using the Memory Man and a couple distortion pedals, and it worked really well. It was really fun. Um, Now the trip to Newfoundland, it was a 2 week residency at this place. I think they just call it the center. Um, everybody there knows. Newfoundland's a really cool place because like you really get the sense of what it's like, small city, small town kind of place, Um, so anyhow, I was a seething alcoholic at the time, very very deep in the juice, and before the trip, I kind of tried to dry up a bit. Uh, and that led me to not being able to sleep. And I was very anxious about flying because I don't think I had flown. I think that was the first time I'd ever flown, or maybe the second time. I don't know. I was very nervous about flying. Um, so anyhow, I didn't sleep for like 3 days. I read Malcolm Lowry's Under the Volcano, the whole book, in the airport. So my brain was just like, bleh. I don't know if you've ever read Under the Volcano. Um, if you're an alcoholic and you haven't had a drink for a while, it's not quite the book to read. But um, anyhow, so whatever. I got there safe to Newfoundland. Now, before taking me home to settle in, before doing anything, Kate Kate knew me well enough to know I would need a drink. Um, so she took me immediately to a bar down on I can't remember. She told me never to go on the street unattended because I'd get stabbed because I'm a mainlander. Um, but anyhow, this bar that we went to, um, it had an open stage, and it was like an open stage contest, like like best performer of the night wins a prize. It was a cassette by this local traditional band. Um, I don't have it anymore. I won the contest. um, so yeah, as soon as I got to this bar, I drank 3 pints of beer and a couple shots of whiskey. I hadn't eaten in 48 hours. I just had a pile of alcohol really fast. Like I was literally like, Kate ordered me a pint, and I'd be like drinking it, and I'd say like, order me another one. And it was just, it's just embarrassing how much I drank back then. But I got on stage and I played the open stage and I won the contest, which was kind of cool. The other local performers were great, as far as I recall. And then the act that came on after the open stage was this flamenco act. It was this flamenco dancer, this woman, and a guitar player, um, who sat on a cajon, like big huge one of these. And people, I've seen a lot of bands, I've seen a lot of performances in my life, but watching an authentic flamenco duo like that up close, like it was like in my face. This is one of the most powerful performances I'd ever seen in my life. It was just incredible. Uh, so that was my first few hours in Newfoundland. Then we went back and got settled in at her house. I met her mother. Um, Her mother, bless her, bless her heart. She's gone now. Um, she was also a raging alcoholic. Like, I mean, she'd have like a glass like this size with like a few ice cubes in it, full of rye. Full of rye, and she'd just drink it. Now, doing the show was really good. We I had a lot of free time there because the show what we did was only on the weekends. Like it was like a Wednesday to Saturday run, so we had a lot of free time. Right? And they're only evening shows, and all I had to do was really show up and do this music I made. It wasn't really, I could do it drunk or sober, or whatever. It was all good. Um, and I smoked a lot of weed at the time. I still smoke a lot of weed. I guess I don't really smoke weed anymore. I use a vape, but I use THC, um, mostly for medicinal reasons now. But back then, I was into smoking weed all the time, and that's the best way to, when I show up, to a bunch of strange soundmen, and soundmen seem to have like an attitude almost across the board, um, like a defensive, automatically on the defensive attitude or something like that. Um, Anyhow, so these sound guys were being kind of gruff with me, like, "Rah," and I said, "Hey, do you guys like smoking dope?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, like all they could get was hash or something like that there." And I pulled out this big bag of buds, and I was like, "You guys want to get high?" And they were like, I was their instant new best friend. Uh, every night I came into the theater, I'd roll them up a big doobie. it was it was it was fun. It made it fun. Um, but This is a long story, so we're already at 15 minutes. This is going to go on for a little while longer. Um, I'm not even going to edit this video. I'm just going to upload it. Um, Now, during my free time in the daytime, I really had nothing to do. It was winter time. It was snowy. It's very cold in Newfoundland. Where we were situated was there's a main street called George Street, and we're in St. John, St. John's, St. John, there's St. John, Brunswick, St. John's, um, Newfoundland, and okay. The story house was kind of tucked in behind like this little area, right? Like a little stand of trees and stuff like that. But and to get to the main street, to get to George Street, you kind of had to wander through these pathways and back alleyways, and they would just be littered with cans of Lysol. Because I guess that was the thing. The drunks would like to huff Lysol before they got their drink on. It's just crazy. Like I've never seen so many empty Lysol bottles in my life. Um, anyway, you had to deke out through these little alleyways, and then you're on George Street. And you had to cross this big old bridge that was really cold to cross, and then you were where the bars were. Now I was told like areas not to go because I'm from Ontario, and I guess a lot of people from Newfoundland take offense to people from who aren't from the island, right? Um, so I was told, you don't go here, don't go there. Blah, blah, blah. I was like, all right. All I wanted to do was play as many open stages, take as many opportunities to play that I could when I was there. So one day I'm walking down the street, walking down George Street, and I see this pub. This is called Aaron's Pub, and open stage today at 4 o'clock. So I was like, I'm on it. I'm totally there. Um, so I went into the bar. I signed up. I don't know. It was probably about 2:30 at this time. Signed up on the open stage. There was already people signed up. And I sat there, and I got some beer, and sat down, had some drinks. The people seemed nice, um, and people noticed that I wasn't from town, right? Because everybody knows each other, right? So people would come up to me and say, "Hey, like, who are you?" and I told them, my name's Pat Walsh. I'm a musician. I'm here doing music for my friend's play. Figured I'd stop in, play the open stage. And people thought I was really cool. I didn't. I bought myself one beer on my way in, and I left that day pretty loaded, around 6 or 7. Um, yeah, I left pretty loaded because people just kept buying me drinks. It was really nice, you know. And I played the open stage, and a lot of the other open stage performers were like traditional Newfoundland musicians, right? Like singing songs about like I'm just another mother's son, kind of stuff, right? It was pretty amazing to see just on a cultural perspective, different part of Canada how music goes. Um, and I got up and I played 3 of my songs and a Bernie Martin song, or 2 of my songs and a Bernie Martin song, and the host of it gets up after I'm done playing and he says, "Well, just goes to show they got better drugs out there in Ontario than they do here in Newfoundland." And then they like snapped a Polaroid picture of me and put it up on the wall. It was cool, and yeah, and I just sat there and people talked to me and asked. I learned about them. They learned about me. It was really nice just meeting people. And yeah, and I didn't pay for a drink all day. People just kept buying me beer. I had like at one point I had like four full beers just waiting for me on the table. It was crazy. It was really nice. So anyhow, after that, the there's another bar that's called the Ship, and that's where all the kind of students and artsy fartsies hang out, right? And so Kate, that's where Kate hung out, and so I went there with Kate later that night, and was hanging out with friends and talking about poetry and music and stuff, and one of them asked me what I did that day. You know, hey, what are you doing when you got nothing to do? And I said, well, I went down to Aaron's pub today for the open stage, and everybody's jaw at the table dropped. And they're like, you went where? I'm like, I went to Aaron's pub on George Street. I played the open stage. People bought me drinks all day. I had a fantastic time. They took my picture and put it up on the wall, and all these people, like these are people from Newfoundland, you know, and they're just like, how did you get away with that? Like, uh, traveler's naivety, you know. If you don't know how bad a place is before you go in, you don't know it's a bad place. I thought it was a great place. I'd go back there if I was still drinking. I'd go back there today, you know. Um, so yeah, that was kind of cool. Anyway, I spent a lot of time drinking there. So one night, this might have even been the same night, but one night at the Ship, I had started there with Kate, but she had left because I don't know. I just wanted to drink more, I guess, and so I stayed till last call. And, um, you know, I'm walking home. It's like 3 in the morning, and you know, you walk down this, like I said, you walk down this George Street and across the bridge, and then you have to go in behind these factories and dig through these alleyways, right? Well, when I get back there behind the, now I'm so drunk, like I have alcohol poisoning at this point. Like my hands are all puffy and itchy, my skin's all getting red. You know I've had way too much to drink, but I can hold it together still. You know, and so, but yeah. Anyway, so there's a like bunch of cop cars back there, like I don't know, like two or three cop cars, and they stop me, and then another cop car comes up, you know, and I'm surrounded by like four cop cars, and I have all these cops out, and they're like, "So who are you?" You know, and I told them, "Oh, mainlander, eh? Yeah, where are you coming from?" And I told them, and now the Ship, you know, because it's like where the artists hang out. Of course, it's the gay bar, right? And so, you know, he's like, "Oh, you're coming home from the queer bar, eh? Well, we might have to do something about you." And all these cops started getting in closer, right? And like, "Where are you staying?" And I said, and I knew that George Story's name held weight in this town, so I used it. I said, I'm here to do music for a play that my friend Kate Story wrote. She's the daughter of George Story, who lives just on yonder, and I'm staying there. And when they heard that I was staying at George Story's place, they were like, "Oh, well, all right. We just wanted to see what was going on," you know. And they all backed off, left me be. You know, I was like, thank you, God. You know, um, so I got home, and you know, I just went up to my room, and I was, you know, I thought I had drank too much. You know, I was just sitting there playing guitar, and all I hear is Patrick, Patrick, and it's Kate's mom yelling. Uh, oh yeah, this was like my second last day there. Okay, that's right. of the 2 weeks. No, I hadn't spent really any time with Kate's mom, right? Who was a fellow alcoholic and musician, and all I hear is her mom yelling for me. So I come out and I'm like, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" And she said, "Get down here and drink some beers with me. You haven't drank beer with me all week, all all the time you've been here. What's your problem?" I was like, "I'm coming." So I came downstairs and she's like, "Grab a beer." And I open up a refrigerator and there's nothing but beer in the fridge. And she's got her like pint of rye going, and she smoked these 100 millimeter menthol Benson and Hedges cigarettes. And just watching her was poetry. She was just so beautiful. Obviously, like ragged from alcoholism and smoking, but just so beautiful the way she spoke. And so she's like, "What I want to do is I want to have some drinks with you and get to know you, and I want to share our music. I want you to play me a piece of music you wrote, and I'll play you a piece of music I wrote. We'll just go from there." And so I was like, "Sure." So she hands me an old acoustic guitar. And she's like, "Play me one of your songs." So I played her the song that won me the open stage contest, and she really liked it. And she's like, "All right, let me play you something I wrote." Now, Kate Story's mom, Alice, she used to be work in the cinemas when there was nothing but silent movies. Okay, um, she was the pianist who would do the piano music along with, like, before it was, how you often hear piano music with those old silent films. Well, they used to have a live piano player in the theater, and that was her job. That's what she did. She was the silent movie piano player, and she specialized in Buster Keaton films. She loved Buster Keaton films, and the way she wrote, it was very different than other people who would write for the silent films. She would often write in the minor keys. Um, Her music would have a little bit more sadness and emotion to it. It's just anyway. Now she is hammered to the gills. Okay, she's just wasted. So am I. We're just can't believe we're holding a conversation together. And she's got this menthol, this big old cigarette. She's drinking this glass of rye. And she's like, "All right, let me play it. Let me play this thing. I wrote this for Buster Keaton." And puts the rye down and just starts playing perfectly. The most beautiful piano music. I still can't put a candle to it. Just playing me these scores that she wrote for the silent movies. And I all I had to do was really sing that one song to get the ice broken. I put the guitar down, just listen to her play. She'd be sitting there, and she'd be playing, pick up her rye, put the cigarette in her mouth, playing like, "Oh no." And it was just didn't miss a note. It was just poetic and strangely beautiful. So yeah, that was my last night in Newfoundland with Kate Story, and that was kind of my. Other than that, the trip was generally just a lot of walking around George Street, drinking Tim Hortons coffee, getting drunk whenever I could, you know, hanging out with the soundman, you know. But yeah, it was good. It was good 2 weeks, that's for sure. The final night, I was actually I hit a point where I was like, man, I just want to go home. I'm so bored just sitting here all day, getting drinking. Like, you know. And that one night with Alice made it all worthwhile. Made it all, doing the show was fantastic. Like just doing the show alone was a good enough reason to go. But that one night hanging out with Alice was made it all worthwhile. And sadly she's gone now. And, I pray she's in heaven. Um, but yeah, anyhow, that's my half hour story of Newfoundland. And when I went there to write music using electro harmonics, guitar pedals, and Boss distortion pedals, and stuff like that. It all comes back. Anyhow, thanks so much if you watch this video. If you want to hear more videos like this, I have a million stories uh, that I could just talk about for hours. It's been a pretty wild ride being a musician over the last 30 some odd years, and yeah, I've dared to tread in some dark corners. Let's just say that. Anyway, God bless you all. I pray that you're all having a great day. Um, check out my community page section for some good gospel messages, and yeah, praise God. Glad I'm here today. Anyway, well, thanks for watching. Be well. See you next video.